It's Pete from Homesteading. I'm in the garage this morning and we're going to start on the observation hive project. An observation hive is a hive that actually has some windows in it, so you can actually see the bees moving around, see the queen. I've always wanted to make one, but I just haven't got around to it. So I think we're going to start on that today. A friend of mine has a sawmill and he gave me a very reasonable price on a bunch of ash boards. So today all we're going to do is square up the lumber, plane it, and get a uniform thickness so we can start on our observation hive project. So let's go. Here's the boards we're going to use to make the observation hive. They're not squared off, but man, they got some really cool grain. Like that's awesome. And that is pretty cool. That is going to come out really, really nice. So the first thing I'm going to do is square up the edges. So there you go. I got most of the edges squared up. There's a few at the end. I didn't want to make the board narrower by just taking down too much. So now we're going to get the plane out and start planing it up. When you start planing rough cut lumber and you have a bunch of it to go through, you got to find the thickest board first, set your planer, and then put every single board through there. And then you make it a little narrower. Put every board through there until you're done completely, because if you don't do that, your one's going to be thicker, you're not going to notice, and then the next one you put through, it's going to pull it in hard and stall it or whatever. So you just got to run every single board through it. Okay, so you screw it down till it just touches, till it'll just lightly pass. I'm going to check and see if all the boards seem smaller. Yep, smaller. Definitely smaller. Same size, I think. And smaller. Okay, so now we're going to run these boards through. that was cutting good. We'll look at each and every board. Okay, so now I've went through all the boards. Some were a little harder, some were barely touching. I can keep running them through until all the boards are parallel and the same thickness. Okay, so now they're actually getting pretty smooth. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run the rough side of the board through. So crank it down. Quarter of a turn seems to be how much you can crank it down. I found the thickest board, I ran the boards through, then I tightened it down, ran it through until I got 3/4 of an inch. Some of the insides I wasn't so worried about. I wanted to make sure I had one good outside planed piece. But the planer works pretty good. It never came with intake and outtake feed shelves. So I'm gonna have to eventually maybe build that, but the planer works great. So I'll show you what it did. So there you go, the boards came out pretty decent. At least, see the center of that isn't done, and I wasn't able to get the edge on this side, but I'm hoping that when I cut the boards up for the pieces, I can kind of work around those spots. And this is going to be my big side pieces. That's going to look beautiful. That is the bonus of planing up rough lumber. So if you went to the store in the lumber mill and bought it all planed and ready to go, you'd spend a whole lot of money. I don't have very much in this project. I think I bought the wood for 20 bucks. So that's an awesome deal. So now that I got it planed, I can probably lay out how I'm going to start cutting these boards to make our observation hive. But that's all the time I have this morning before work, so I better get going. So you guys have a good one.